Hey guys, Dr. Ben Galyardt here, author of the book Rebuild Your Brain, Stop the Damage, Start the Repair. And today I want to go over something near and dear to my heart. It's called APOE, and it's a gene that we have in our body. And what we've found in the medical community is that the APOE gene is very much related to whether somebody gets Alzheimer's or not. So there's different variants, and some of you may remember from biology class, botany class, anything like that, they've got the little Punnett squares, and you've got the different, it could be a large A, small a, large A, and you pass those genes down through the procreation process of male and female. And in the APOE world, it's APOE4 is the main one that we're looking for that increases someone's risk of Alzheimer's 4 times. And it's about 25% of the population are going to have the APOE4, so that you can have APOE2, an APOE3, or an APOE4, and you have 2 of those. So you could be a 2-2, a 2-3, and a 2-4. So I'm not trying to get into a genetics class, but I just want you to get how this thought process works. So I am a APOE4. I'm a 3-4, and my wife does not have a 4 in hers at all. And so any of our 4 boys, they had a 50-50 chance of transferring that APOE4 gene to them, and only 1 out of the 4 actually got it. So we beat the odds there. So what does the APOE gene do if it is on that 4 level? Well, the big thing that we look at is that it does not allow the brain to repair and rebuild as much as it should. So this is very important when we're talking about things like in my book about stopping the damage. So things that damage the brain, we're going to need to be more aware of if somebody is that E4. And so basically what that means is if there's an insult, so a head injury, if your blood sugar is high, if you have PTSD, if you're around mold, if you have autoimmune, any of these different things, if we have that insult, we're going to not repair and rebuild the brain as well as we should. So then long term, it's not just about causing damage, it's about that repair process. So somebody may have the exact same damage as somebody else that's an E3, but they're not going to repair and rebuild as well as they should. So what does that mean? If somebody's an E4, you have to be that much more aware of the process. And so there's an amazing book out there called The End of Alzheimer's by Dr. Bredesen, and he talks about that E4. And if somebody is not E4, they're E2, E3, it's going to be great to do intermittent fasting and do 12 hours of intermittent fasting. That's going to help rebuild the brain, do a lot of different things. If somebody's E4, they should go all the way out to 16 hours of intermittent fasting because of that extra need to repair and rebuild the brain. And so he has a lot of tricks in there, a lot of ideas on how to help those people that are E4. So then here's where it gets really interesting. So somebody's 4 times as likely to get Alzheimer's as if they're an APOE4. Then you add in a concussion, like I've had multiple concussions, and somebody's 10 times as likely to get Alzheimer's. So is that important to know? Heck yeah. I don't want to get Alzheimer's. I don't want my kids and wife or anybody to have to deal with that as I age, and they have to lock me in the basement so I don't wander around the neighborhood or whatever it ends up being. So for me, almost everything that I've brought into the office, my book, everything, it's not just about patients, it's about fixing my own brain. So you can understand this. Anything that's in my book, anything we do in the office, it's stuff that I do on myself to help my brain repair and rebuild. And so we look at oxygen therapy, we look at the magnetic field generator, the PEMF, the cold laser, vibration therapy, neurofeedback, all the nutritional support, the brain repair kit with glutathione, resveratrol, pine bark extract, a bunch of different things that are going to be very helpful at repairing and rebuilding that brain. So for me, I know that I definitely don't want to get any more concussions, and so I do things to not do that. But you know, who knows? Car accidents, falling off a bike. There's a lot of things that could happen that I could get another concussion doing that. So it almost doesn't matter. I've got to do everything possible. I've got to keep my blood sugar stabilized. I've got to do the therapies. I have to keep my good mental health, doing relaxation techniques, doing all these things to help my brain repair and rebuild as much as feasibly possible. Trying to stimulate BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which intermittent fasting ketogenic diet, some of those types of dietary changes are going to make these dramatic shifts. So how do you know whether you're an APOE or not? The easiest way to do it is a straight genetic test. 23andMe can give you that information. There's some other ones out there. And you do it. If you're an E4, you know, hey, I've got to put everything I can in to keep my brain as healthy as possible. Try not to damage nearly as much as I can. But again, just like the book says, you want to stop the damage, start the repair. So you have to slow down that damage, and I list a lot of different ways in there to do that, and then to rebuild any of the damage that is taking place, because we're always losing brain cells, whether you're an E4 or not. But if we're an E4, 25% of the population, we're going to damage more cells than we should. So if you haven't found out yet whether you're an APOE4, I would highly recommend, if you have done 23andMe or any of the genetic tests, look in the test, look for APOE. You'll be a 2-2, 2-3, 3-3, 3-4, 4-4, any of those. If it has a 4 in it, you are positive for that APOE, and your Alzheimer's risk goes up 4 times by having those genetics. Does that mean you have to get Alzheimer's? By no means. I have no intention of getting Alzheimer's, doing everything possible to not go down that path. So if you have any questions at all, definitely drop us a line and we can help you in that process of figuring it out. If you've had the genetic test run but can't figure it out, send it over to us. We can take a look. Like, share this video. Anybody that you know that's concerned about Alzheimer's, anybody that you know that's thinking about, oh my gosh, my parents had it, or I feel like I'm forgetful, anything like that, we can look at those genetics, we can get a good feel for where they are and start going through that system. Remember, Alzheimer's is an inflammatory condition. It is not a straight up genetic condition. So I may have those genetic markers, but that doesn't mean I have to have Alzheimer's. I'm doing everything in my power to not go down that path. So I'd love to hear from you. Share, like this video, and we'll hear from you soon.